Can you see that?
Yep, got the counts.
Perfect.
Looks good.
All right. Good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. It is the 5th of December. It is a very cold and wintry day out there, so make sure you guys are covering up, not getting frostbite or anything like that today. Make sure you're treating all your fuel and everything like that if you're running equipment. So we are 45 days out of recordable injury, 15 days out of first aid injury, and 38 days out of vehicle incident as of now. But that last number will be resetting this morning. So. Today we're going to talk about spill prevention and response. Our most common hydraulic fluids are the Sunoco 632 hydraulic oil, and any other chemical that we might have. We're going to have the SDSs available on Teams. You go to Foreman Super files, and then you click on the SDS. We update those as we get stuff. So if you pick up a different hydraulic oil, let's say, then just let us know, and we'll get the SDS added to that as well. For gas and diesel, we have gas and diesel from all the different major distributors. So Mobil, Shell, all those different places. And the SDS for those are available in the same place. But if you click on the SDS for Mobil diesel and it's Shell diesel that spilled, it's not going to be any different of a procedure for dealing with it. So your best practices, as soon as you have a spill, you want to de-energize the source. So if it's a piece of equipment and it's hydraulic oil, you want to shut it off. If it's a transfer pump or something like that, you want to either unplug it or turn off the truck, whatever you need to do. If you have a hydraulic leak coming from a hose or a fitting or something like that, it's going to be under high pressure. You don't want to look for it with your hands. You want to use a piece of cardboard or something like that to find it. You want to make sure you deploy spill kits, and you can dam and isolate your fluids if needed. So if you have a huge fuel leak and you need to take an excavator and make a little mound around it, then that's what you have to do. Once you do that, then you might have to stick a pipe in the bottom to let some of the water out, but not let the oil out. You want to make sure you notify the project manager, the shop team, so Pat, Tyler, Chico, somebody like that, and then Matt or myself, and we'll all assist with all the different management of the issue, the getting rid of the materials, and the reporting of it. For any spills more than 2 gallons, we need to keep all waste in drums on site. We have drums available. We'll come put all Speedy Dry, diapers, everything like that into it, and then we'll generate what's called site ID for it. So that way all of the stuff can get tracked. And I think, yep, I did skip a slide. So we'll go back. So one of the code items obviously is working in an environmentally conscientious manner. We want to make sure that we're doing that all the time. You always want to be prepared by having spill kits readily available in an unlocked trailer whenever you're working, if they're in the trailer. You can get spill kits in the tool crib. They're going to have diapers, Speedy Dry, stuff like that in them. You can use the bins temporarily for storage of those materials, but like I said, if it's more than 2 gallons, it needs to be going into a drum. We want to make sure that we're inspecting our equipment daily. Best time to do this is usually when you're greasing, because you're getting up close and personal with the equipment, and you can make sure that all your hydraulic fittings and hoses aren't chafing or anything like that. And you also don't want to trust the automatic shutoff valves on transfer pumps. They work most of the time, but most of the time is not all the time. And if you think about how often we're filling equipment and stuff, most of the time isn't good enough. So you don't want to be multitasking and stuff while you're doing this. And you always want to store the nozzles above the fuel sources to prevent siphoning. We have a couple of transfer pumps from back in the day that would siphon themselves out. So some important things to keep in mind is that some sites may have specific procedures for spills, so they might have different thresholds for reporting, stuff like that. You might need to handle the materials in different ways, and they may even dispose of them. So prime example would be if we're working over the old IBM site or Global Foundries, They're going to treat spills a lot differently than if you're working for a residential construction site somewhere else. Any flammable liquids spills need to be handled with significant care. Larger hazardous spills will require the fire department, and you want to be mindful of sensitive areas, reservoirs, streams, protected areas, and stuff like that. If you have a spill and things are getting out of control quickly, the best thing you can do is call for more help to mitigate the losses down the road. So very quick one today. Matt, you have anything to add?
No, yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, for some reason we seem to have more spills in the winter than we do in the spring, summer, and fall. So that's why we put this topic today, as it seems like we always are dealing with a lot of spills in the snow, which can complicate kind of, how to contain it and then get the water out so we don't have to have a huge amount of waste to dispose of. So just keep in mind of all the pretty much what Tom said. You pretty much nailed it. So
Hey, I got something quick, Tom and Matt, if I can butt in.
yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
This isn't on the agenda or in the email, but excuse me, I got a request from the shop just to remind everybody. It's the first cold morning of the year. So trucks and equipment will need extra time to warm up this morning, and that includes hydraulics. So if we're operating equipment, let's work a single function and get that hydraulic oil moving nice and gently, not under load, so it warms up. When we have cold hydraulic oil, pushed under high pressure, around these packings in the cylinders, that can often cause those to fail, which can then, score rods, which then can put metal back to the pump. And it can, some of the bigger hydraulic issues we've seen over the years seems to have come from like rolled seals, possibly from strenuous use before the hydraulics are warmed up. If you guys have something that doesn't start easily, please do call Tyler, Brad, Chico. What we don't want to do is we really don't want to use ether at all. We definitely don't want to use excessive ether. It can really damage engines, especially in cases with equipment with glow plugs, which most of our equipment has. So before you get the bottle of ether, you should probably call the shop. If something doesn't start quickly, please don't drain the batteries down to nothing. Or if you do, make sure we get them charged back up. When we don't have charge in a lead acid battery, that lets that acid freeze, and then that battery is no good. Even if it doesn't freeze, when we draw that down, below 12 volts, substantially below 12 volts, even if we charge it back up, that often causes permanent damage to the battery. And so even if it's not junk, tomorrow, that reduces the life of the battery. So call the shop if you're having issues, and be careful. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, let people know if it doesn't start. If you're not going to charge it yourself, let them know. Same thing if you have a spill. Don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Take care of it. You can usually smell it. Diesel and hydraulic oil have a good odor to them. Usually we can tell when something's not right. Okay. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Ben. Let's see. Let me know if this works. Did you get my screen?
We got it.
Okay. I don't want everybody out there pressure washing when it's so cold either. So, but try to keep your stuff clean. That's the code item of the week. So when it warms up again, we're going to have to get all this crap off of our vehicles and equipment. This stuff that they're putting on the roads these days seems especially nastier than the old just simple salt that they used to put on. I don't know if you guys all noticed that, but boy, it's nasty stuff. So take care of our stuff. I don't know if I want to read this whole thing, but the ownership topic of the week. What do we do when other people at ECI are falling short, or they're not following our code, or they're not doing working up to snuff, or up to standard? I think we need to learn how to tell them. And we need to hold each other accountable. And I always say, tell them rather than to tell everyone else is the best way, because they get the right message. They get it from you. They get your version. When you own it and you tell someone else and explain to them what they're falling short on and make it about the thing, and rather than making it just about that they're an idiot, it's a lot more effective when you're honest and truthful. The other thing is to not use scapegoats. Don't go to one of the managers and says, hey, so-and-so is doing this. What do you think? Well, that's not good. And then they go right out to the person and say, well, I just talked to Mr. McNall and he thinks that you're an idiot. Or Dow, I get used as a scapegoat a lot. So own it. So it does take a lot of courage to engage our fellow workers. It takes a lot of thought on how to do it, because the wrong way is to walk up to them and just tell them they're an idiot, because that just puts them on defense right away. The right way is to make it about the thing and be honest and productive. And really, we need to get them up to speed and get them performing the way that our standards dictate. So by telling everyone else and creating a bunch of drama doesn't really help us. And as if I encourage everybody to read this thing that I wrote last night themselves, but all of these things lead to better safety, better quality, better efficiency, because we're worried about the work rather than all the other stuff that distract us from the work. And it proves your ability to talk to people when you have to have a tough conversation, and you got to do it from yourself rather than spreading information through others. It's going to build trust, because when we need to criticize, we need to do it in private, and we need to do it, and we need to do it tactfully and with a result that leads to improvement rather than just a bunch of people complaining about each other to everyone else. So it's going to lead to better alignment and better teamwork. As employee owners, we owe it to ourselves and each other to always improve and strive to be the best. We are good at communicating promptly, directly, and effectively to uphold our standards when it comes to the plans and the specs. So let's do better when we're dealing with the specifications of how we're to conduct ourselves at work. So thanks for upholding our standards. You can read the verbiage. I put a different spin on it than the written version, but work on this stuff. This is important, I think, for our culture. This week we have an equipment focus. Ben McKinney, do you want to talk about the fuel treatment, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, no, I'll hit it real quick.
Yeah.
I think it's just that time of year. We want to use the white bottle power service. We had a batch of a different type last year. I don't know I think we're back to running power service this year. It's just a fuel treatment. It says right on the bottles how much you're supposed to put in. So if you just want to read that and understand how much you're supposed to put in. You wouldn't, if you're adding a little bit of fuel to like an excavator tank, you wouldn't want to dump a bottle every time. That's pretty simple. So we got winter fuel at the pumps and the bulk tanks. Everything's winter de-waxed fuel, but it can still gel. And if it gets water in it, it can create bigger issues. So if you have a big equipment heavy job going on this winter, we can in some cases get a cut fuel, a diesel fuel cut with kerosene pre-blended and delivered. That can be an option. We just need to talk about it and sort it out. So if you have that request, you can talk to Ken Furno, who can work with Roberts to get that delivered, or another fuel supplier. You can cut it yourself, but we really want to be careful. Kerosene doesn't have the lubricants to keep the pumps lubricated, so we don't want to run excessive amounts of kerosene. We want to keep things full. Filling up at the end of the day is good. Empty airspace in transfer tanks or in equipment tanks leaves a lot of room for condensation, and so water's the enemy. We want to keep water out of our fuel. Stocking fuel filters on your job site a bottle of 911, the red bottle, which is not a daily use thing. That's what you use when you have a big issue. A blanket, a salamander heater. There's a lot of things that we can have on our jobs to, if we do have an issue with water, to help get us back going.
Yep. Thanks, Ben. What in years past, we had some problem with few pieces of equipment that sat since like June and we hadn't used them, and then we wanted to pull them out and we found the fuel was gelled because we're not cutting our fuel in the middle of the summer. So if you encounter that, talk to the guys at the shop because they can do different things. They usually change the filters. They know how to apply that 911 stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you get
Right?
a piece of equipment that's got a half a tank of fuel and it's been sitting since August, putting up to 50% at the very most to Caro
Yeah.
in that tank may not be a bad idea.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know if excessive amounts of this, the power service hurts them, but I bought one the other day for my tractor and I was like looking at it because I was like, oh man, how long's this fuel been in the tank? And the tank only holds 7 gallons. So it doesn't take much. And so I had to resist dumping like way too much in there because it said that the bottle treated like 100 gallons. So just bear that in mind and ask the guys in the shop, right, Ben? That's the key.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben. And thank everyone for taking care of our stuff. So the 2025 annual employee giving, the committee met last night, and there's a committee this year of, let's see, Ben McKinney, Phil Forster, Ron Johnston. We had an honorary member, Brendan Stringer, last night, Sarah Wallen, myself. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. We've got the list that I'll go through here in a second of the recipients, and also in addition to the recipients below, Make-A-Wish Vermont is we decided last year that they're going to receive the proceeds from the clothing sales that we do. Last year, we raised $31,123. We had almost 100% participation, and I want to make a goal to beat last year's record, and I think Sarah might come up with a higher goal for next week's announcement. And I leave her to give us maybe a higher goal than just beating last year. But I think everyone would like to see 100% participation in the program, even if it's a small amount. No amount is too small. Just having everyone give something would be very meaningful for us to be able to say when we're talking about this to others. So ways that you can give cash. You can give ATO in any increment. It's easier if we just use increments of an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. It's a lot easier to deal with it that way. And you can also do a payroll deduction. Last year, I think a lot of people did a payroll deduction, and they, hey, just take $5 a week out for a couple weeks or whatever. That's easy to do, and the admin staff can do it easily. And if you let Sarah know, she is going to administer this, and she has the master list that she keeps. So we're going to give this year to Classic Mike Lawyer Foundation. They do a lot. Their mission is very broad. They've done a lot for us, our own people, and our people that we know. They are very, very, we know the things that they've done in the past are pretty awesome. And we have Sarah and Tom Lawyer, who are actually part of that group. We have the Josh Pilata Fund this year. We did this back when, I think it was when it just first came about. Josh Pilata was, he was in the military and he came back from one of the tours, and he ended up committing suicide. And so there's a place where people can go, and veterans, and they can get support. And this Josh Pilata Fund funds a lot of different things at this Josh's house that people can go to. And maybe we can have some more information in the coming weeks about these things. We get the Ronald McDonald House, which everyone kind of knows what they do. Down there's, isn't there I think there is it's down on Pearl Street, I think. McKinney,
South
do you know what?
Winooski.
South Winooski. And they do a lot of stuff for people that are in the hospital, a lot of children and cancer patients that don't have a place to stay. They can go to the Ronald McDonald House and they can get a bite to eat and a place to stay while they're getting their treatments. And then the Lund, it used to be the Lund Center, and they've changed their name a few times, but it's called Lund, and they're local, and they do a lot for young mothers, pregnant. McKinney, we read the mission last night. Can you help me with the Lund?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
young mother and pregnant women support. They help. They help young families, young children. They help connect women that may not want to be moms to adoptive families. So they
Yep.
do a lot for pregnant moms and little babies.
Yep. So it directly and indirectly goes to children. And I think Ron Johnson way back we've done jobs there and worked at their facility. And some of us have worked to keep the bills reasonable for them in the past. Right, Ronnie? What did we do down there? Yeah.
And I just wanted to speak up about ways of giving.
Yes.
Just to advocate a little bit for the ATO.
Yep.
If just as an example, there's a lot of benefits to giving with ATO if you have some. It reduces our liability because we have a lot of banked ATO time currently in the system. And the biggest benefit to the employee if they give that way is that it's pre-tax. So if you make $20 an hour and you give 1 hour of ATO, you're donating $20.
$20.
If you hand Sarah a $20 bill, you would have had to earn $30 pre-tax.
That's
generally
right.
speaking, in order to make that $20. So it's a pre-tax donation, and it's beneficial to you.
Yep. It gives us a lot more. You're right. If we give 20 in cash, we're really giving 30. We've had to make 30 to give it.
Yeah, 20 to charity and 10 to the government. So and the other upside is for the company. We're all employee owners, and it helps reduce our ATO liability. So twofold for the ATO if you can give it.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, you were on the committee. You're on one of the people on the committee. Do you have any other things to say about this year's giving?
No, I like to see that we moved some things around. I think we focus heavily. The Mike Lawyer Foundation is near and dear to us. We focus on veterans, children, and outreach for families. And I think we tried to reach those 4 categories with our 4 charities this year. So.
Yep. Thank you, Phil, and thanks for serving.
Yeah.
Okay. Holiday schedule. Man, the 19th is going to come quick. 2 weeks from today, we have our holiday party, Christmas party, I like to call it. And it's from noon to 3. And then the following week, Christmas is on Thursday, the 25th, where we're closed. And that's going to be a paid holiday. And Friday, the 26th, we're going to be closed. And the company's going to forward us 8 hours and pay that holiday by 8 hours of ATO that they give us, which is cool, or we give ourselves. New Year's is going to be January 1st is going to be the paid holiday, and then the 2nd, you can take it off if you want, but we'll be open, but I bet you we'll be at limited capacity on that day. Some people wanted to call it an optional work day, which I think that's a good way to explain it, but we will be open, and if it's cold and there's nothing to do, it's a great day to take off. Gives us another long weekend. All right. So I got a little splurge from Elena. We're going to have the Christmas tree ornament contest. So starting on the 8th, where I'll have the tree up, encouraging bring employees to bring an ornament to decorate it. Anything that's gonna fit. She says here, don't put anything, get anything heavy, that's gonna drag the tree down. But right here we have last year's winner of the ornament contest. I don't know.
That one looks pretty heavy.
I think it was Christy that did most of this. I talked to her the other night about this. So, but I did put your name first, Cody, because you're our employee. But Cody's held the title for a whole year. But if you do one of these, make sure to include everyone. All right. We get a new baby. New ECI baby. Mac Robert Nelson, born on 11/29, 9 pounds, 10 ounces, 21.5 inches. And mom and dad, Taylor and Ben Nelson. And there's some pretty cool pictures.
Who would have thought Ben would make big babies?
Look, I love the fist on the
Shocker.
chin. He's in thoughtful mode. He's like, what did they do giving me this guy for a dad? He looks like a very thoughtful baby. I love the hair.
Kid.
So our preventative care wellness screening program, there is a reward program that I had forgotten about, but Aaron does a little write-up here to explain to us that we can get a wellness reward. I think last year we had gift cards. So everyone that got a wellness visit by either having a preventative care appointment through us, which we can figure that out through our Cigna and through our Champlain Medical, we can figure those out. But if you're on alternative insurance and you and we don't have a record of it, just let Aaron know to get on the list for this year's reward. What happens is the insurance company gives us a pot of money and we divide it up and give it out in gift cards to employees that did the wellness screening. So you can read that. I won't read the whole thing to you this morning because it's almost 7.
It's a good day to go over.
Yeah. Project of the week. Mark, are you on?
I am.
You want me to drive this for you?
Sure.
It's a quick and easy one.
The just a question for you. The 31,000, that didn't not include the clothing, correct? That was just the employee donations.
That's correct. The 31,123 was the employee portion. Yes. That we divided by 4.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Burlington International Airport project. It was a arresting system drainage improvements was the primary goal of the project. It did do a couple of other things, but that was the primary goal. We contracted in May 21st, which actually the job was bid in January 24th. The pre-construction was on May 21st. And we started June 1st. So kudos to Sarah and everybody else and Jerry and his team to get all the background checks and badging and everything done to start within a few days. Unfortunately, because of the fact that the contract was with the airport, but the National Guard was involved, it took some time to get the contract in place. But so we got off to a little bit of a rough start with materials and stuff like that, but everybody was patient and we got through it, and project was a huge success. Again, the main focus was to alleviate water from backing up in the arrestor cable vaults, which that's a picture of one of the vaults. There was 4 of them out there. Jerry and his crew installed multiple drainage implements. I think we installed a couple structures. There was a bunch of pipe work, 4 new pumps inside the vaults. Then there was 4 new pumps inside of the arrestor cable pits and a large storm infiltration system. Project also included a couple of conduits, one under the runway and one under the taxiway, and also some patch paving. Liam Rochelot and Trevor Day did all the project engineering support. The pictures that Mr. Dow just showed, the first one was the vault.
Yep.
That next one, that's the that big flywheel is the cable winds up on that. You can see the controls here for a diesel engine. The diesel engine actually just pulls the cables back after they've been used to stop an aircraft.
So
Very
the cable,
similar.
the cable pops up across the runway,
Correct.
and like the tail hook of the 35s can hook it.
Yeah, it's
If they
very
drop it.
similar to what you see on the aircraft carriers.
Yep.
Little different technology. You can see in the background there. This is more like of a band than an actual cable.
Yeah.
And then the next view down is a couple of sump pumps that are used. We replaced one of these in each vault. One of the original pumps stayed, but we replaced one in each vault, and in some cases we had to do the plumbing. So Jerry turned into a plumber to do some of this work as well. The
Nice.
real challenge out here was our hours of work. So every night the runway would close. The Burlington Ops, BTV Ops would close the runway at or around 11:45, and it had to be released and reopened by 5:45 a.m. every day. That was when the work was inside of what they call the RSA, runway safety area, which is measured as 250 feet either side from center line. So a majority of the work was done inside that safety area. So you can imagine 6 hour work window. You got to go out. First of all, we had to low bed out every night, which was not part of the original contract docs, but we did low bed out. So thanks for the support from trucking and getting us out there every night, and dig your box in, do your work, and be picked up and cleaned up. And cleanup isn't just making sure that everything's buttoned up. The BTV Ops comes out and inspects. So vacuum broom out there and cleaning up any what they call FOD that might destroy jet engines. So they have to check it. And so these guys did a tremendous job out there. We had zero issues with getting the runway open every day, which there's big liquidated damages if you don't hit that window. I think it was $4,000 if you missed it, and then I think it was $4,000 for every 15 minutes after that. So kudos for the guys for no issues on that end of things.
Yeah,
There's
when,
a pic.
yeah,
picture.
when they look at those marks, sometimes when we did the job in 94, one of the guys from Ops would put a flashlight on the ground and roll it around with his foot, and it would make a grain of sand look like a huge boulder. And he'd be like, nope, you got to clean it better. Sorry.
There's a picture of the guys in a trench box. They did let us plate a few times our box in area, so we didn't have to dig it back in every night. But for the most part, it was bringing the box out. And a lot of these drainage runs were short anyways. They weren't huge, long runs. So you can imagine pulling the box out, putting it on a trailer, getting your excavator in and out every night in 6 hours.
Yep. And then doing the work.
Exactly. This was the large infiltrators that the guys did. As you can see, this is obviously day work. This was outside of the 250-foot runway safety area. So one of the small portions of work that got to be done during the day. Again, I would say just guesstimate 85 to 90% of the work was night shifts out here.
Yep. Getting started. Wow, that's a big infiltrator.
Yeah, it was a big one. And this work specifically, so the day work we accessed through the National Guard side of the airport. The the night work all came in on the BTV side of the airport. So we had to have a gate guard, and guys would be badged for the most part. Most of the crew is badged both through the airport side and the National Guard. And there's rules with how far apart you can be from somebody who's badged, and again, kudos to the guys, because it's a challenge working at the airport. It's not like just running out there and getting some work done and going back. It brings its own series of challenges.
Yeah. We got some good sand out of it, I think it looks like, or some material that we could reuse or sell.
Yep.
That the stone displaces. Cool. Well, thanks,
I
Mark.
apologize, I didn't get any pictures of the paving or the directional drilling, but again, thanks for those guys. I also want to say thank you, in addition to the low beds, the trucking guys were out there at night with us as well. And the survey team also went out and did some work at night to get the job set up and going. And if I forgot anybody, I apologize, but I believe, and safety went out there a couple times. I think, Tom, you went out a couple times and with the guys.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. Speaking of the survey guys from the archives. Hey, these guys are both still here. Mike Twombly's still in the same basic job, but Saganowicz was he was on the survey team back in 09. So that's Matt Saganowicz on the right, and Mike Twombly. Both those guys Saganowicz looks a lot younger, doesn't he? Where are
I
you,
think
Matt?
that was in Barry.
Yep.
The big Barry went up on the hill.
Yep.
Granite. Williamson.
Granite.
Yellow hard hat.
Yep. He was.
I think I forgot my hard hat that day, and I had to borrow somebody else's.
Yep, for the photo. But
Yeah, looks like GMP's hard at.
Mm-hmm.
he's gotta look at Mike and listen to Mike, and then he's gotta look at that little friggin' bubble on the top of that post and hold it steady, because Mike doesn't like it when you wiggle the prism.
I learned a lot from Mike. I mean, he's so knowledgeable. He's great to work with.
He's got a flip phone in his pocket. You can see it.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's regroup, have a splash of coffee and a smoke, Matt.
Well, that was splash coffee and smokes.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we ought to recreate that photo.
Oh man.
A few years ago. All right,
Those are
everybody,
the
I'll turn
days.
it back over to safety. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, have a great day. Have a safe day. Remember, it's cold outside. That shouldn't be hard to remember. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the equipment, and have a good weekend.
And take care of
If
each
you're
other.
watching a group setting, please kick over your attendance.
See you guys.